Most people know him from movie appearances or as a cult hero over the past 20 years. He invented heavy metal, new wave, and influenced the sound and the look of rock for more than a generation. But now, with his new record getting airplay and a 100-city, 6-continent concert tour sponsored by Pepsi-Cola, Bowie may finally be moving into the mainstream of rock. And for him, that kind of fame could be a problem.
Fame, fame, ah, ah. Fame, fame, ah, ah. Fame, 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 fame. What's your name? What's your name?
His name originally was David Jones, an unlikely candidate for fame. A shy boy from a working-class family who dropped out of school when he was 16 to become a rock star. Now, at 40, he's a superstar whose new album puts his reputation as rock's legendary innovator and provocateur on the line. This is the was it all worth it question.
Oh, no, you wouldn't do that to me.
You strive for success since you're 16, you achieve success, and now you sit in your green chair looking back on it all. And what do you say?
Not true. I didn't strive for success. I strive to do something artistically important. And success over here, I believe, is very much in the kind of material world. So can I just say that before we start? I wanted to do something artistically valid.
How important is it that the album be a big commercial success for you?
Not at all. I mean, I've only really experienced commercial success with Let's Dance. And that came right out of the blue, completely. And I don't ever expect it to happen again. I really, no, not at all.
I mean, he always wanted success. He always wanted it on his terms, which is more important, and still does. I must give him credit for not doing it anyone else's way but his own.
Tony Visconti was part of Bowie's band through the late 60s and went on to produce 10 of his albums, including 1969's Space Oddity.
This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door.
He often thinks of it first. Doesn't do too well. I mean, he comes up with the formats. You know, he makes the new territory. And others follow, but do it a little bit more slick, a bit more commercial.
Well, like the Rolling Stones, who haven't sold nearly as many records as one might suspect, or Bob Dylan, his influence has been on other artists.
Rolling Stone magazine's senior editor, Kurt Loder, has covered Bowie for 12 years.
He affected schools of musicians and schools of fashions and styles.
The style depended upon exaggerated characters, like Ziggy Stardust.
Ziggy really sang, screwed up eyes, screwed down hairdo, like she had in Japan.
The alienated characters that Bowie concocted have been copied so often they've become a rock cliché. How calculated is any of this?
That's bollocks. Calculation, it's rubbish. I mean, it's no more calculated than any actor preparing and creating a part. It just happens that in the genre of rock, it's unusual for a rock artist to be kind of different off stage from what he's supposed to be on stage. But I just wanted to bring the idea of performance and acting into rock.
What Bowie created was rock theater. It wasn't just four guys with long hair and blue jeans playing loud music. He redefined what you could do on stage. Yet behind the innovative performance, as revealed in this 1975 documentary, was a young man so insecure that being himself just wasn't enough.
I was never very confident of my voice, you see, as a singer. So I thought, rather than just sing them, which would probably bore the pants off everybody, I'd like to kind of portray the songs.
So he had to invent all these outrageous characters because he probably thought he was dead boring as a human being. He is pretty ordinary, you know. He's not outrageous. That's the sad thing about it. But he attracts outrageous people, and he does borrow from them.
Angie!
Darling, I came to say good luck.
One of them was Angela Bowie, who spent the 10 years of their marriage as Bowie's unofficial manager and unpaid therapist.
There's an awful lot of Rolls Royces out there, darling.
Really?
Limousines, incidents occurring.
For a long time, he was always very reserved about letting people know what he really thought or what he really felt, because he was unsure of himself. You have to guess with David. It's all a question of guesswork. And I was probably one of the better guessers about him, because he won't talk. He'll talk on stage and he'll talk in songs, but he won't talk the rest of the time.
Now and then he did talk, like the time he declared himself to be bisexual. But on stage, he hid behind a succession of outcasts, each more confused, more bizarre, more fascinating to his fans. Why all these unhappy characters? Why these misfits?
Spencer Tracy once said, Bob, I have no idea what he said.
That was good. That was
I know there's something coming there. He says something to the effect, actually, he did, that heroes are really boring. That the real interesting things are the off-center values of people, you know, and those are the things that trouble most people. And most of my characters have been sort of alienated, you know, and that's the one thing that people really think, do I belong here? Who are my friends? You know, does anybody like me? All those things, you know, am I on my own? God, you know, it's terrifying to be on your own in this world. And so those things all go into the porridge of what the porridge?
That's where you come from.
Did I say that?
The soup
the
here.
Porridge of what? The soup. It's one of the ingredients of what my characters represent.
Well, if as you...
Are you going to buy that?
Well, yeah, I do buy that. And in fact, if you do buy that, then one can only assume that you have an awful lot of this, or had an awful lot of this going around in your head.
Oh, no, my life's just a joyride, man.
Yeah,
I just see it. It's on the streets out there. I just pick up and put it. Of course I do. Yeah, I mean, everybody drinks the goldfish bowl water and lies under furniture and things, don't you?
By his own admission, Bowie became offstage what he was on stage, the self-centered, drugged-out, paranoid rock star. The conflict was part of his life for years.
Yeah, I had a lot of problems with that. Well, what I did to get out of that situation where the characters were me and I was the character, and I went to Berlin, and I really adjusted to the idea that it's very easy to just throw it all away and try to come out of that.
Even though when they came out, the Berlin albums were a critical and commercial failure, they're now considered his most significant work. Bowie's personal anguish had coincided with an artistic achievement that again was ahead of its time.
You know your life itself.
Can you be sure that you're not going to go back into that trap?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can. I mean, one always has lapses, you know, and you feel despondent about things and maybe, you know, slightly sad. But then you get, oh, ever so cheerful again.
In 1983, Bowie finally had his first real commercial success with the album Let's Dance. It was good time disco music that some of his fans and friends said was only that.
I view his period of doing Let's Dance and all that as a trying to cash in on his own ideas, but I think he went too far the other way. I think it was a little too mundane.
Bang, bang, reach for the sky.
Bowie describes his new album as a collection of different styles drawn from the past, and for some